Now, Mendoza for me was a completely different trip. This time I wasn't roughing it. I went with a friend from Buenos Aires.
Looking at the best looking women you've ever seen in your life. Just to kind of rub it in a little bit.
We stayed in a hotel right in the center of town, and we really got a feel for what a cool little city Mendoza is. Completely different from Buenos Aires, but it had a character that was really Argentine and totally different from sort of the more cosmopolitan Buenos Aires. Now, we didn't spend a lot of time in town, mostly just to have dinner at night and go out to the bars, but the centerpiece of our trip was a 3-hour drive on Route 7 towards Chile with the goal of making it to the fabled Aconcagua mountain. Now, the ride itself was pretty spectacular. We're going through mountains that seem to change from hill to hill. I'm sort of a geology buff, an amateur at best, but every hill was different and very arid. I was not really prepared for the fact that it was going to be like the desert southwest of the United States. The drive out there is really a scary, curvy affair, trying to weave your way in and out of massive trucks that are shipping goods between Chile and Argentina. And at any time, if you make an error, you're 3,000 feet over a cliff. It's pretty scary. And one of the cool things about this drive was that several times, probably 10 or 12 times on the ride, we had to go through tunnels right through the mountain. There was an old railroad track that had tunnels through it, and then there were places where 2 trucks wide would try to go through a tunnel right in the side of the mountain. I'd never been through anything like that before, and it was pretty impressive. So about 2 hours later, we got to a place called Puente del Inca. It's a natural limestone bridge with a river running through it. And a short time later, finally, we arrived at the tallest mountain in the Western Hemisphere, Aconcagua. So a short hike later, we were in perfect view of the snow-capped Aconcagua mountain. Now this is 23,000 feet. It takes 3 weeks to hike it just to acclimate to the elevation. It's amazing, Aconcagua with the snow on it. So after about 20 to 30 minutes, daylight was waning, we decided we had to get back to Mendoza. Now I plan to come back there with Phil and hike this thing someday, even if it takes us 3 weeks. Only 30% of the people that try make it, but Phil and I are going to be one of those 30%, I'll promise you that. So we turned around and headed out, but for me this wasn't a case of adios, it was a case of hasta luego. Come back and climb it next time.
Yeah.
So after a strenuous day of driving, the next day we kind of wanted to just take it easy, and we thought to ourselves, we can't come all the way to Mendoza without going to one of the vineyards where its signature Malbec is made. So we went to Familia Zuccardi, the largest family-owned vineyard in Mendoza, and we got a tour of their facilities, we even got to taste some of their wine, and I know that when we got back to Mendoza that night, when we ordered Malbec, we had a different appreciation for it, and I still carry that appreciation with me back to the United States. So after Mendoza and a short stay in Buenos Aires, it was time for me to go back to the United States. I had a great time, I saw a lot of things, but I'm realizing I've only scratched the surface of Patagonia and Argentina as a whole. I have to remind myself that Argentina is as long as the United States is wide. And I think it would take me a lifetime to do everything I really want to do in Argentina. But I did a lot, and really the point of these things is to experience new things in your life, to make those memories that no matter what happens, no one can ever take away from you.